Day 21. Stop being a slave to your mind. So, I'm remembering more and more why I've always said that meditation is like martial arts of the mind. Today, I was able to hold that space between thought for a longer period of time. So like my breath. And what I mean is, so let me give you like a little demonstration of how I meditate. I took 5 levels of Shambhala, and while I'm not a Shambhala teacher at all, I'm just going to kind of walk you through like my process and how I meditate, because I love that practice very much. So I have a meditation cushion, and I sit on it, and the important thing is to have good posture. So you have like a continuous flow from, you know, your root chakra, if you will, or your ass, however you want to go about that, all the way through your crown, through your head. You have like kind of like if you're a singer, you would understand this too. It's important to have that steady flow for breathing. It's kind of funny when I can't breathe still from being sick. Anyways, so you have this continuous flow. So your posture is very important. And then, you focus on something 6 feet down, typically is what I usually pick, at a like downward angle, 6 feet downward. Find something, fixate on it for a second, and then let it go. So it almost becomes hazy. Again, this is why it shows my name, Haze. In that process, while you're doing that, you just start to notice your thoughts. So you allow them to exist. Don't label them as good or bad. Just understand that you're thinking, and that's okay. And every time you catch yourself thinking, just say thinking and come back to breath. So the whole time you're just, you can go through an entire meditation without realizing that you're thinking. That's the whole point. That's the practice, is to more often recognize that you're thinking, just say thinking and come back to breath. So what I'm finding here on day 21 is that process of recognizing that I'm thinking is becoming quicker. So I'm recognizing it much quicker, and I'm able to come back to my breath and hold that space of breath for a longer period of time. And that's where I start to feel like a lot of like really cool energy, and often where I cry, because that's when I find myself again. So that process is just awesome, but it's very similar to martial arts, I think. The whole process is really, when you start to apply this to your everyday life, you can start seeing that, like, if you're in a conflict with someone, or you might be quick to anger, like a road rage. I have road rage. So I started to see that I'm not as reactive, because this practice starts to just kind of happen naturally in other aspects. So I can I look at things, it's almost like I'm watching them outside of myself, if that makes sense. So I can see these things happening, and so I'm not as consumed by them emotionally. I'm watching them, so I don't have to get reactive to it. It's kind of just like, oh, I'm going to go here instead, or I'm going to maneuver here instead, or I'm just understanding that maybe that person's having a bad day, or, so I'm just going to quietly, peacefully go over here. It takes, the cool part about that is that you're not spending so much time being so upset about something stupid, or being consumed by your thoughts, being a slave to your mind. Because really, remember, you are not your mind. You're not your mind or your body. You are a soul. I think this is something I feel like I've been connected to and have been trying to come back to for a long time, but it wasn't until I met a certain particular person that it sparked the the spiritual journey again for myself, the spiritual awakening, if you will, which I'll get into more at another time. But anyways, this is something that I think is super important, is vital to your inner peace and joyfulness. And similarly, I kind of relate it to the way I play music. So when I create, there are no thoughts. And I can, like, there are literally just no thoughts. Like, it's more of like I can write a song. Some of my best songs have been written in like 15 to 30 minutes tops, because there's literally no thoughts. It's just connecting to an experience and the feeling of that, connecting to it, allowing it to completely come over me, but not being enslaved by it. And what I mean is not getting consumed by the thought of it, more so connecting to something outside of that. And when that's happening, when I do that, it's like I'm the tool being used to write the song. Holy shit, that's so crazy, but that's so what it is. And that's like that's what life is. So anyways, that's like literally what I experience when I'm songwriting and composing music. There's no thought. It is just like some sort of otherly light something happening, and it's like I'm channeling something and I'm just the tool being used because I'm open to it. So if you can be open to thinking more in terms of like your heart or like your soul, being open to that, the thing that's before the thought in the body, that part of yourself, your soul, if you can be open to that and not be scared of it, then that creative space, I think, is the same space that is in that meditation, the breath. And that's the space that we need to connect to more often. That's where that peace and joy come in. That's where your sense of truth lies, and connection to everything exists. All right, keep meditating. Peace.